is Charlie, aka Brazen, aka Golden God, streaming a 8 a.m. Jawa Cup match versus Apollyon, with Apollyon versus Steve Buss. Looks like they haven't started their game yet, so I got my chat open. If anyone wants to let me know if I sounded right. I'm whispering a little bit because people are kind of waking up still. We got Greg in the starting a voice call. Greg. Yo. How's it going? We're currently live. Let's if you want to just say a few words so I can get the sound right. Just so I can get the sound right on the stream. Just say a few words. Alright, I need to add I need to do. Alright, try again. Man, why can't I never figure this out? Oh, there. I think I got it. Oh, there. I think I got it. Oh, there. Okay.
Jared says you sound good. Can you guys hear me?
Oh, they started. Watch the game. Alright, here we go.
Can you guys hear me? JNap, can you hear me?
He should be able to hear you now.
Hey buddy. I'm doing some work over here. How are the volcanoes?
Alright.
So volcanoes go up.
Nice.
It's good.
Looks like we got Diplo versus Ralops.
Alright, let me pull up the game
I
here.
spelled his name wrong, dang it. Your camera isn't on. Do you want to turn on? You don't have to. I can hide that scene.
No, I can turn it on.
It should pop up if you.
Never mind. I'm gonna keep my camera off.
Okay.
Alright, yeah, so we have Diplo against Rops. Match Apollyon's on Diplo. Steve Buss is on Rops. I guess this is a matchup that typically favors Diplo, in my mind. How about you?
Yes, this is a pretty heavy favorite for Diplo, in my opinion. It's a lot of it is just because Ralops is big. It's pretty tricky starting. Shit, I don't know if you can hear me now. Starting with space, and Ralops needs space, right? Like that's a big factor. You just have space to start with Diplo, and the TAT system is really hard.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of similarities on the flip side of the objectives. Both decks are trying to battle with pretty much lone characters and abusing the total Battle Destiny bonus that the flip side of their objectives give them. So when you look at it that way, and the light side deck gets to start a ship with 7 forfeit right on the table,
yeah,
definitely giving light side a little bit of an advantage here. It's interesting though that both decks got a little bit of a boost with the latest set. Diplo got the Hero of 1,000 Devices effect that it can start to pull. Is it R3T2? I think is the droid's name. You put him on Tantive, and then he lets you fly directly to Alderaan to deliver turn 1. And for ROPS, they got a new starting interrupt that lets them deploy a system. I'm going to guess that there wasn't one in Steve Buss's reserve deck because he didn't play his interrupt to go get it. But that should also speed up things for ROPS. So both these decks are probably acting a little more quickly than we've seen in previous V sets.
Yeah. Yeah, the free system is huge. It's an incredibly good system too, I think, because if you dance around on Ralops, the Drain 2 helps keep you in the race. So. Gotta fix this.
Yeah, so we see from Steve Buss, pretty typical turn 1 for ROPS, which is he's starting Imperial Arrest Order, Endor Shield, and Insignificant Rebellion. Uses one of his Endor Shield, pulls on Admiral Piet, pulls the Executor Docking Bay, and uses Piet's once per game text to get Commander Desan. So both of those guys are chilling at the Docking Bay. We'll see Desani pull a shuttle in his control phase. All pretty typical stuff from Steve on turn 1.
So that Menace is just maybe just it'll affect Emperor with Janus, and it'll affect the system. I don't think it does much else. Yeah.
Yeah, I might have held off on playing that until there was an actual drain bonus. Like, you just keep an extra life force in hand, or maybe something to put back with Commander Vanden Willard.
Yeah.
So, turn 1 for Apollyon goes off as expected. He pulls the farm with I Must Be Allowed to Speak, gets his droid onto the Tantive, and flies over to Alderaan to deliver the tapes. And getting the turn 1 upload, I feel like changes this Diplo deck quite a bit because, historically, you're either committing a lot of cards to do a turn 1 flip like the Squadron Assignments, General Calrissian, fly in the Falcon and fly back, and that kind of commits a lot of resources and isn't that consistent with I Must Be Allowed to Speak. Or you're flipping on turn 2 because you're doing a turn 1 Mon Mothma to pull Chandrilla, and then you make a stop there before you move to Alderaan on turn 2. I think it's like this turn 1 flip is actually pretty interesting for Diplo because you have you can see right here, Apollyon just chose from 30 cards. He got to pick one on turn 1. It gives another level of consistency to this deck that I think is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Apollyon upgrades the card after he delivers the tapes and draws a bunch, so he's got 11 in hand and 2 saved. 12 in hand and 2 saved.
Yeah, and it kind of feels like the consistency you got from pre-errata Ralops, right? Like usually back
pre-errata Ralops V you're talking about, where you would flip and upload a card into hand.
Yeah.
Yep.
And back then it was just too consistent. Usually you pulled like a Gick, something to give you an out. That's what my typical upload was. But I think I'm not sure what he might upload here. You have so many characters and ways to attack that, you can bunker up one of your sites on Ralops, but on Ralatier, but it's just easy to pick off the fringes and flip back Ralatier. So, and with Bale, you're always doing damage. So even if it's -1, Cantina shuffling, you're still getting maybe if you play Saw, you're still getting some damage out of that.
Yeah. So I think his upload was probably something to start a pull chain, like Luke, a Leia, a Chewie, a Lando, or it was just Bale, because Bale is so good, like you said. So it's probably, if I had to guess, it was one of those kind of cards.
Mm-hmm.
We see Steve Buss took the Emperor's personal shuttle into hand with Commander Desani in his control phase, and now he's using his objective to get out another Raltier site. So he's got 3 sites on Raltier now. we'll probably see Steve Buss maneuver a flip here, where he goes, separate guys to his spaceport sites, the spaceport street, spaceport city, and then docking bay transits Admiral Piet and Commander Dasani over to the docking bay. Interestingly, though, he doesn't have the spaceport prefect's office out, so maybe he has it in hand, but it'd be a little annoying if you flip and never have an opportunity to pull that back out of your deck if you're the ROPS player.
Right.
So there we see he plays the new Starting Interrupt Moment of Triumph V to pull Ariadu V. Pretty sweet system for him.
Yeah, it's very much streamlines this deck, and it plays like it plays like the effect is attached, and I think balance wise it's pretty decent because it gives you back the text that is really the flavor of Reality Ops, but it limits you to two effects, which makes you have to, obviously those are probably the two best effects, just because you get like cheap character, like a free character to help you flip, and consistent ways to get space out, and then like you almost always have to play Imperial Arrest Order, right? But
yeah, for sure. You want a docking bay. If you're doing like the Endor Shield stuff, you want an extra docking bay to put Admiral Piet first turn. You want a quicker way to get your sites out. So having one turn where you get out 2 spaceport sites to Raltier via the spaceport docking bay is pretty good. And you also just have a bunch of Imperials who get the forfeit +2 bonus.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we see Min Kainu go down to the street, Seventh Sister go down to the city.
Yep, then you can just docking bay transit over these two, and there's no way. Well, Min Kanu's kind of, if he's like Imperial Decree, but Min Kanu's pretty attackable unless a lot of people play sneak attacks, and they'll play the warrior card, Imperial. What is it called? Let me get it out.
Which one?
The one that adds one if you have an Imperial alone.
Is that one Lone Warrior?
Lone Warrior.
Is that the...
Yes, I think it is. That's not as common as just sneak attack, because sneak attack's just better.
Yeah, and sneak attack, if you're doing a version of ROPS where you have like Imperial Enforcement and multiple Emperor Palpatines, it might be nice to put a 6 on top when an opponent initiates against you. Right. So if you have extra Emperor Palpatine, sneak attack makes a little more sense in a deck like that. Mm-hmm. All right, so we see start of Apollyon's turn 2. He's going to play Might of the Republic to take Leia Organa. So if he goes to Tatooine with Leia, he'll be able to start a pull chain with I Must Be Allowed to Speak. He'll get one used pile search with Leia. Probably be able to get something else out of his used pile that gives him another pull, which is a good concept in Star Wars because it lets you develop board and keep your hand size up.
Yeah. Sorry, 1 second.
So he goes Captain Ramus Antilles to the Tantive 4. And then Apollyon gets the Cantina out, so now he's got Cantina, Lars Farm, and the Dune Sea at Tatooine, just missing Mos Eisley.
Ooh, that's a nice font. Sorry. Okay. Yep. Leia, bread and butter of this deck. So good. Cost 3, tons of forfeit, draws on her own. A little vulnerable in today's meta with Vader and that sister, because it'll just
Yeah,
doesn't
the ninth
draw.
sister.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But gets a used pile pull. Chewie costs 2 to her site. She almost always goes to Tatooine because she's just safe.
Yeah, and her text. So she also she draws one battle destiny if unable to otherwise. If she's with an imperial leader, she can add one destiny to total power or attrition. I mean that's really strong text to go fight on Ral tier with, but you can't give up that used pile search. So it's no surprise that she's chilling at the cantina.
And then he just got hyper value out of Leia's resistance transport with no imperial detention out. So Rey's a free pull and another used pile pull.
No, it was Ray from hand.
Oh, yeah. 4 force, 3 and 4, yeah.
So yeah, Leia's transport ship, which typically could pull Ray from reserve deck. I guess there wasn't a target in reserve deck, so Apollyon just puts Ray aboard from hand. So now he's got. Okay, there we see Owen and Brew Lars go to the Lars farm for free. So as soon as he moves the Tantive to a battleground system, he's gonna flip. So it could be back to Tatooine. It could be over to Arriadu. It could be even to Raltier to make Raltier a battleground and prevent make the ROPS flip a little more difficult. But we also know that Steve Bus has Emperor's Shuttle in hand, so I'm not sure. I just go to Arriadu to.
Yeah, I think this telegraphs a barrier because I don't know why he would. I feel like you'd just put the transport at Tatooine, and then you can move the Tantive 4 to Rail tier.
Yes.
And at Tatooine, he needs to draw. Depending on how much he's adding, he needs to draw 5 to crack. So.
Yeah, but I don't know about the barrier now. So, in addition to that, Chewie Protector came down to the Cantina for 2, got another pull. Tatooine Celebration went down to Tatooine, but then Apollyon consolidates in the Cantina. So he's got Leia, Chewie, and Owen and Brew moved over there for free.
Mm-hmm.
So if he had the barrier, I would have suspected that he would want to leave Owen and Brew at the farm, get an additional bonus, keep an additional site open.
Right.
So I'm not sure. He did save one. I mean, he's obviously threatening the barrier.
Well, and
but he's not.
It's a situation where I feel like if you put Rey to the transport to Ariadu, Aridu, I don't really know how to pronounce that, but you might as well keep Owen and Baru separate, because there's no way he can blow you out both, right? If you have a barrier, but he must not. He either doesn't have a barrier or definitely doesn't have a Hoojix. So.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Owen and Baru, typically they're going to be fine on their own. They would give you an additional bonus to your total battle destiny if they were at a different site. But like you said, still susceptible to Vader or Ninth Sister. So maybe he's just trying. Maybe he doesn't have a handful of evasion and or a Hoojix and just doesn't want to risk a big blowout early.
Right. Real Shadow 40. I don't know if they have to give their deck lists early. I think this is more OCS style. You just play a legal deck list. Yeah.
Yeah, and Dylan has a good point in the chat. Owen Baru could have moved over to the Dune Sea for free and just had some extra protection from the site text there, which requires Dark to have ability of 6 or more to draw Battle Destiny. And there's still some guys that draw if unable to otherwise, but then you're only really concerned about Vader canceling Owen and Baru's text and blowing you out. So yeah, I think I don't know. It depends on what was in Apollyon's hand, but it seems like maybe a little conservative of a turn there.
Well, I mean, he could kind of afford to be. He is, in terms of advantage, I think he's advantaged already with the deck.
Yeah, that's very true.
He's not threatening damage, right? So I think moving over is probably fine. It's more I think the space is a little bit odd, but he must have something. I mean, he knows he has Emperor Shuttle, so Emperor Shuttle drawing 2 into Ray is like an auto clear for that. It's
Yeah,
just,
yeah. I
and
mean, if he
and he's
was,
immune, so it's like he's not gonna take any damage. Pretty bad trade for him, and like covering that system doesn't help him much. Oh, we see Vader's personal shuttle coming down to Tatooine, so that's interesting. He can't
yeah,
drop,
it looks like he wants to contest the celebration that's there.
and he's
It's
gonna
gonna
draw a
be
0 if he puts Vader on it, or he won't be able to draw at all.
Yeah, that's true. So Vader's shuttle non-virtual, while Vader's board opponent must have ability greater than 5 to draw Battle Destiny at same system. Grand Moff Tarkin V. Just interesting choice because he's not going to be able to draw more than one at the system.
Yeah, I don't.
Also.
I think he doesn't. I think this shows to me he doesn't know the text of this, or he forgot the text of the system.
Or
Because
he
you,
just he has no other pilots. I mean, that could be the only other possibility because otherwise, I think, yeah, like even right here, you'd be better off with Tarkin at the street and Director Orson Krennic, who we just put to the street, is basically the same pilot on Emperor's personal shuttle
yeah,
as Grand Moff Tarkin here.
right. One. So he's initiating battle. One's at plus. Steve is at +3. Polyon's at +2 to his total battle destiny. This is if he draws a 5,
Yeah.
that's really bad. I mean, he can run away, so that's okay. He can always go to Relatier with this shuttle, right?
Yeah, you're saying if Apollyon draws a 5 here, yeah, it's going to clear both of his pilots.
Correct, yeah.
So Steve draws a 2, which is
Not enough
like
to
the
clear.
worst thing. If you're going to draw a character,
it's a
you'd rather
5.
draw 1. Right, but
But you can
if he
cancel
drew a
it.
1, he could redraw.
Right.
But it was a 2, so he's stuck with his 2. Apollyon also draws a 2, which becomes a 4. So they're both just going to lose 1 character for attrition here. Actually, yeah, okay. Ramus makes the ship immune, but it's less than 5.
Right. So at least he did clear something, which is probably R2 and 3PO. Yeah, so I was going to say one of the things that kind of stinks about flipping early, and when you're supposed to, is with Relatier, is that it's hard to get your last sight out, and you want 4 sights out. So like, that's always one tricky, like awkward situation I've felt when I play Rail Ops. It's like a lot of times you need to go quick, you need to flip quick, but you have no way to get that last sight out unless you're like force pushing for it or just finding it, you know? So
Yeah, but it feels bad to use like a force push or a Tarkin's Bounty just to get a 4th sight out when you're probably trying to, keep up on board and clear something off of a site somewhere.
right.
So yeah, it's like the games where you get a sight in hand feel much better as the Rops player.
Yeah.
So yeah, the battle there ends with Steve Buss forfeiting Admiral Ozzel, Apollyon forfeiting R2D2 and C3PO. Yeah, I'm not sure if I would have contested the Tatooine system with that combination of cards. I mean, Dylan points out that if Steve had just gone to the Raidu system, he would have been able to draw 2 Destiny there. And
Yeah, he
have a
can't
pretty good chance.
He can't actually make it because of hyperspeed 3, right? So he can't actually escape.
Oh yeah, he can't escape at all. So that could have been really bad. Well, he does have Imperial Decree Virtual on the table. So even if he forfeited both pilots, he would be able to draw Battle Destiny there in a subsequent battle. But just initially, just going to Araidu for the battle and being able to draw 2 Destiny, it's likely that he would have cleared Rey and the ship off of the system, and he would have been left with his own ship there.
Right.
So yeah, I'm not sure. If that was the best package to contest Tatooine with, like if you have Emperor's shuttle with Emperor and you're fully immune, it's a little more appealing. But Vader's shuttle with no immunity and just 2 pilots on it feels a little late.
Yeah. So yeah, and because the value of the other play, the Aridu play, is so much higher if you take into account the Tatooine text. I think he just didn't take into account the Tatooine text, right? Like, I think that
Yeah,
was just a misplay.
yeah, it's possible. And then he he draws into masterful move combo anyway to cancel the celebration. So now you feel, I mean, you probably feel pretty silly about like spending your resources there, like you said, or
Right.
yeah, he just forgot that he couldn't draw multiple destiny there.
Right.
If you are playing the masterful move combo and you have a canceller for celebration, that's even more reason to just leave Tatooine alone and go clear off that ship at Ariadu where you can draw 2 destiny.
Yeah. Well, and also like that's a drain 2, right? Aridu's. Well, it's a drain 1. So it's a drain 1 because of his objective. No, it's a drain 2 because
Well,
it's his
it's a
it's
drain.
his site.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
drain 2 for light side there. So
Yeah.
yeah, it helps him contest the damage against him better if he goes to fight at Ariadu.
Right. He could have landed the shuttle here too, and just like try to get Vader and go back up or something. But that system is like, so he has Tat Sally in his lost file, but he's gonna initiate battle, retrieve it, walkling for it. I don't think he walkling, did he? Find out.
I don't think so. No, but he might have. I think this deck typically plays 2 anyway, so he might might already have one in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could put Walkling out of play now to retrieve it, and then play somebody to get it out of his use pile. Like he has a lot of options for a celebration to hit the table again. Although he didn't grab the masterful.
Right. Do you think he should have grabbed Masterful?
I probably would have.
Because
And
against
I know
close call is also like a pretty big grab, right? Like,
a close call is big. Okay.
I guess it depends. If you have another grabber, generally speaking, I think this deck doesn't have another grabber. But I think it's probably the optimal grab because you can keep Tatseli. This Ralatir ops cannot contest Tatooine. It's just impossible. So you might as well keep your Tatseli safe and grab the masterful move and just retrieve the rest of the game. And that's one of the big reasons Ralatir has such a hard time with Diplo. They just, unless you're playing an independent ship, and I've seen lists with it, there's nothing that stops you from playing independent starships. But if you're trying to keep enforcement live, the retrieval and the cancel redraw to get your characters, you don't play any. There's pros and cons, and it's generally people don't start it on table, so it's not consistent. So now we see Bail, Organa, and Wedge in Rogue Squadron Run. This is a great card. They're both guaranteeing that this gets cleared. So that's unfortunate for Steve.
Wedge is just a body here, right?
Yeah, Wedge is just gonna.
It's power 6 body, and Bail. So now there's 2 destiny plus 6 additional power. Yeah, that you're probably right that it's a clear.
Yeah, he needs to draw a 5 with 2 destinies, and I'm thinking the average destiny in this deck has got to be 3 point something. So unless he draws really poorly, he's gonna clear this.
Yeah, I mean he could have some tricks. He could have like the close call, like you said.
Yeah, close call, and he still has the grab live, so he could grab that. I have to imagine he has a close call in his hand. Like, yeah, he's gotta. I think Wedge is pretty good stats. It's a pretty good card. It's sort of a meta call, I think. Like you kind of want to play if you think you're gonna see aliens, but
yeah, and I think Diplo does struggle a little bit against scum and villainy type decks that just have a lot of sustainability and a lot of character recursion. So
Right.
yeah, I think you're right. That wedge is probably a little bit of a meta call here for like court. Is CCT legal? I don't think CCT is legal in this format, is it?
No, I think it's just court.
Just court.
He
Or
must have thought it.
somebody getting spicy with like my kind of scum or something.
Yeah, that's possible. He draws a 5. So even if he close calls, it's not.
Yeah, I would if I had the close call and his first Destiny's a 5. I think I don't even bother.
Yeah.
And then he draws a Luke with his second Destiny draw, which he gets to redraw and take into hand, which could be big if he didn't already have one. And then a 4 with his next draw. Is that 11?
That's if he doesn't have a gig. That's pretty bad.
Yeah,
Okay.
27 power. Draws an 8 though.
12.
5 plus 3.
Yeah, it's only like 5 overflow, 4 or 5 overflow.
Yeah, I think it's 5. 5 if nothing else. He's gonna swap with Insignificant Rebellion when he draws his Destiny. A Death Trooper from hand with Admiral Ozzel in Lost Pile.
Characters on Tanev are the droid that lets him make the hyperspeed jump to Alderaan. Captain Ramus. So it's immune to 5, immune to Latdam, and Bail Organa. Adds a Destiny, and adds +1 to drains where all your Alderaans of ability less than 4 are. This card is huge in this deck. So this is a +1 because of him. So 8 forfeit.
Yeah, so the total was 27 power to 12 power. So Apollyon gets to retrieve that Tatooine Celebration, like you said earlier. Steve Bust does play an imbalanced combo to make Apollyon lose 1, but he loses just a random card from the top of his reserve, which was a barrier. So he does have the Celebration back. Forfeits the droid and forfeits Wedge. Steve Bust has to clear everything, and then we're gonna see if he has a Gick or if he has to eat this 5 extra overflow.
I don't think he can afford to lose 5 cards. The board is not looking in his favor. It was
especially with
the Wedge was a good play. It was a good idea.
Yeah,
he had just enough forfeit.
Yep, and so we see Steve Bust peeling cards. He loses the imbalance combo that he just played, Amara from reserve, Grand Inquisitor from reserve, Kyrkanos, Imperial Command, all off the top, and then the shuttle last. So yeah, he just had to take 5 overflow there. Rough battle.
Yeah, that's not great. He does have Emperor. He's probably gonna try Emperor Shuttle. He's probably gonna try to counter beat on Ariadu. I think that's the right play.
Yeah, I think him swapping the Death Trooper for Ozzel, you would suspect that Ozzel's coming down on the Emperor Shuttle next turn.
Right, and another interesting thing: if he would have lost Tarkin, he could have swapped for Tarkin and played Tarkin with Emperor, right? This turn. So that first battle he lost Ozzel, kept Tarkin up there. So
yeah, so Tarkin, right? You're saying in the last battle Tarkin wasn't accessible in the Lost Pile yet because he was still on the table, so he couldn't swap for him. But it also comes back to that decision to fight at Ariadu versus Tatooine. I mean, we could have, if he had cleared that ship, you'd probably still have a lone shuttle sitting up there this turn, or a shuttle with a guy on it this turn.
Right. Yeah, it just goes to show how impactful your turn 3 decisions are. Just changes the entire state of the game with certain decks. I feel like you're gonna see lines change way more with these types of control decks early.
Yeah, it's not like a mains versus mains matchup where your path is pretty linear.
Basically want to deploy a character and make sure your hand stays healthy versus like there's a million sites on the table and yeah.
Yeah, so we do see the shuttle. Emperor Shuttle comes down to Ariadu. And there's Emperor Palpatine to make it fully immune. We'll add a Destiny.
And we know he has Ozzel. It's a real cheap ship.
Yeah, even with Goldenrod on the table, that whole thing just came down for 5, and it's pretty beastly.
So he had a Tarkin in his hand.
It does have another Tarkin. So we got played. We got played for
Yep.
fools by Steve Buss.
Right. He knew. He had it in his hand, so he didn't have to lose Tarkin. That's why he did it. Apollyon
So now
is surprised this is happening. He said, "Ouch, both of them." Pops up on my screen. Oh, goodbye.
So there's the battle. There's 3 Destiny from Steve Buss. +3 to his total. Apollyon's going to be drawing 1 with +3 to his total, but it's not likely that he's going to outpower the shuttle here, and and the shuttle's fully immune anyway. So Steve's probably going to have full control of this system. Apollyon's probably going to clear.
As God intended.
You can't mess with that shuttle.
Yeah.
To be from one of the cards that Steve Buss lost before and some of his Battle Destiny here, we know that he's playing a Walker package in his deck. His first 2 Destiny are Blizzard 4 and Trample. So it's just something for Apollyon to keep in mind if he does put those lone characters out to the exterior sites on Tatooine. Just got to worry about them getting trampled later in the game.
Yeah, for sure. Seeing that trample now, question his grabs, I think, but trample's it's not super relevant. I think he does. He's got to have a perimeter scan. 16 forfeit, but only 6 overflow, so he's just gonna clear. Ray and the transport.
Yep, no losses for Steve Buss. So now he's in a much better position. He's got his 3 sites on routes here. He's got the Ariadu system with the fully immune shuttle drawing 3 Destiny, and he's got the system text activated. So as long as Imperials control 3 battlegrounds, he has Force Drain +1 there. So now he's got his free drains going now that battle plan is satisfied, and he's threatening 5 damage. He's in a much better position now.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks pretty even. I think it looks like if you just take the board state alone, it looks like Steve is now favored. But that's Cohen, right? That's his real name.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I should call him Steve or Cohen. But yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I've just been going by usernames.
Yeah, I guess it makes more sense if you don't know who they are to say Steve because it says Steve on the screen. So, but yeah, I just based on the screen alone, it looks like Ralops is in a great position, but Diplo can just drop characters till the cows come home, and I think a barrier would be a big impact on this turn if Steve has a barrier for his invasion. But it looks like we're going to see 2 damage. We're going to see 3 damage total. And there's no retrieval. So
yeah, but we should see unless we both missed Apollyon use his Walkling pull before, we should see Walkling for Celebration, which is like the 3rd card from the bottom of his reserve deck right now, I think. 4th card, maybe. So we should see Walkling for Celebration, and maybe he'll get that Celebration satisfied again. See if he can get a couple turns of retrieval before it's canceled. We could also see Mos Eisley come down. Mos Eisley would be big here. Now that he has Bailout, he can shuffle around, get some damage going on Tatooine.
Right.
And so he's a little bit ahead on Life Force, but like you said, right now, Steve just took the lead in how much damage he's putting through.
And he just lost his masterful move, but that actually is good because he can swap for it if he fights.
Right.
There's Mos Eisley. Saw would be big. To stop the Realtier objective. Realtier Ops -1 objective.
Yeah, and we also know that Apollyon has a Luke in hand, and he hasn't used his use pile search with Luke yet. So we might see him either deploy Luke first, or maybe do a couple things and then deploy Luke, just so he could take advantage of that use pile pull.
Mm-hmm. And he does need to put a character down to play Tatooine Celebration. So.
Right. If that's his plan, he's probably going to put somebody to Mos Eisley, play Celebration, and then maybe consolidate in the Cantina again, knowing that he can start shuffling on subsequent turns.
There's Kraken.
We see General Kraken going to the Spaceport City.
So if Kraken lives there too, he drains +1, yeah? There's Thief or Scout present. So it looks like he's not going for Tatseli. He's just going for...
Yeah. Luke to the docking bay, which doesn't get a pull. Oh, backs him up with Padme.
And +1 to deploy as well, so it's a little expensive, but...
Yeah. Expensive to go there. Kraken and Luke would have added a Destiny together if it was just the two of them. So I wonder if there was a play to consider may have been to go after.
Mm-hmm.
You go after Seventh Sister with Luke and Kraken, forfeit Luke, and then move the Tantive over to Realtier to flip him back.
Right, and he's just not doing a Tatseli move, so even I would even consider a gamble on him having more space, right? Like you saw Mara Jade with stick, so he probably doesn't play the Decimator, right? So your Tat system is really safe, so you could probably even drop a Selly and leave. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Oh, okay. There's the battle at the docking bay first. Steve Buss drops Tempest Scout 6 as a react, so now he's got Piet, Dasani, and Tempest Scout 6. So it's a little more forfeit for Apollyon to have to get through. He's adding a Destiny to attrition, and then 1, 2, 3 to his total battle Destiny. So basically 2 draws plus 3. Helps that Prefect's office isn't out, giving the additional +1 forfeit bonus to everybody here. So he's got to get through, what is that, 6? Well, he's got to get to 12 attrition to clear everything.
Yeah. Which is possible. I don't know how much he was tracking. I think I saw Might of the Republic drawn. So.
Yeah. So he needs a 5 and a 4.
Mm-hmm.
1 second. I'll be right back.
Sure. Yeah, so I feel like a lot of times in this matchup, you want to send Tanafor to Realtier anyways with Bale because they can't reduce that drain. So you're always going to be giving them problems. Oh, Trample comes out. Perimeter scan to cancel it. So even if he lucked into a 5, doesn't matter. He does have grab live, but he did not choose to grab it because you'd have to grab before the perimeter scan. That's an important thing to remember, I think, when you're playing Jump, is after you skip your grab choice, I think you can't grab. So you have to grab first. I might be wrong on that. But anyways, draws a 5, just needs a 4 to clear the whole site from Padme's attrition Destiny. Close call is going to cancel and redraw. I'm not sure if I like canceling redraw just because it goes use pile. You can't play it a bunch. With Insignificant Rebellion, pulling it back every time you draw. Like, it's really nice when they attack and you can close call because you can take it back the same battle. So next turn you can use it if you want to attack someone. But he's canceling and redrawing it. There's the grab, so that line of play is gone. Which is a good grab. Close call is a good grab. Especially with Masterful Move. Seeing Masterful Move die. So he draws Jin now. That's only a 5, so clearing the site is now impossible. There's a 5, so he must have tracked that 5. I did see him draw it once earlier, so it's not impossible that he tracked it. -1 makes it an 8 total. I think 4 plus it makes it a 7, so Padme covers, which I think was his intent. He wanted to keep Luke alive. So I think, well, so one thing he can do now, because the move from Tatooine is free, he can fight at the Spaceport City, or yeah, Spaceport City with Kraken. He can clear the Seventh Sister and then move Tatooine over, move Tantive 4 over.
Yeah, move
and
Tantive
flip
4
it
over,
back.
move Luke over. Yeah.
But he actually can't move Luke, unfortunately, because he only has 1 Force left, so that is gone.
Oh, right. You're saying, yeah, 1 to initiate, and then he won't have enough left.
But I don't think it's too big of a deal. I think what like we were talking about earlier, I would say that he should have just attacked one site, because then he can move Tantive over and put Tantive where it should be all game anyways, which is this system. Tantive 4 is just so good at their system because it's a non-battleground. If you ever need to leave, then they're stuck at a non-battleground anyways, and it just forces them to constantly worry about you flipping them back by just controlling one site, right? So like,
yeah, even if you just get the 1 turn of them, like, moving over to occupy the Raltier system while they flip back, it's like, it's taking them off of, potentially taking them off of battle plan for a turn.
yeah.
Just, right, it forces them to commit more resources to Raltier that aren't really doing anything.
So he drew a 5/5, making it a 13, and Steve draws a 4, making it a 7.
Yeah, so Polyon wins, but he doesn't get to retrieve. He doesn't have a force to pay for secret plans, but the site clears.
If he did put Luke there, he would have had the site and done overflow, right? Because he'd have.
I think so, because he played the leadership to add a destiny, which he still could have done. So right, so it would have been Kraken
3
adding
destiny.
a destiny.
Yeah,
three destiny plus 3 to the total. He most likely has to lose Luke in that battle, but he keeps Kraken there. Kraken holds the site by himself, and then you move Tantive over to the system and flip drops back.
And even like in this position, there's no reason not to move Bail to Raltier, because it's a drain of 1. You move it to Raltier, now it's a drain of 2. It's a battleground, right? I think, yeah. Well, he can just move the Tantive, right? He doesn't have to move Luke. I mean, he ideally he would, but he didn't have enough force. So.
Yeah. If he had 1 extra force active, I think we would have for sure seen that play. But I think you're right that it's he might as well just move just to do more damage at Raltier.
Yeah, and if he would have just put Luke and Kraken and not even bothered with Padme, he'd still have 5 force. So, but we're the commentator. We're not playing the game. It's a lot easier to see lines for us than it is for him. So,
100%. Yeah, it's a lot. Sometimes it's a lot easier to see these things when you're just sitting back watching.
Yeah. Yeah, free is enough for the ship, right? I'm talking to chat.
Yeah.
So he saved 2. Tells me he's going to battle. Where is he going to battle? Definitely Luke, right? Maybe try to blow
It's
him
got to
out.
be. I don't think he's got 13 force active, 7 in hand. There's just
Nine Sister, pretty effective here.
Nine Sisters. Nine Sisters of the Cantina is pretty good. So maybe we'll see I mean, we're definitely going to see a battle at the Cantina. Oh, and Binder
flip.
goes to the system to flip Diplo back.
I like that.
Yeah,
It's my
so
favorite strategy against Diplo is to just flip them back every turn if you can.
yeah, so they just to read it out loud, they flip back if they do not occupy a battleground site and a battleground system, or if they do not control any locations. So nice play by Steve Buss to occupy all of the locations that Apollyon was at that turn. And he also has Imperial Enforcement to hit the table. This could be a good turn here where he. Actually, I don't know if he's going to win a battle at the Cantina, though.
Yeah, he needs to draw. I mean, to not take overflow, he needs to draw 6.
Yeah.
So, and I think he has something special on top, something special planned for them.
Okay, so wait, that's actually a 6, though, right? Because if he has an interrupt in hand to swap. No, because you don't have prepared defenses anymore. Never mind. That line's gone.
Yeah, no prepared defenses. Ozzel is just gonna sit there too. Oh, he's gonna fight. So that's clears 2 guys. That must be why he wants to. But he does get 2 destiny, and he knows there are 5s on top. Oh, he must have known that 6 was there. See, that 6 would have been great at the Cantina. He draws Emperor Palpatine, does not use Insignificant Rebellion. Apollyon draws a leadership for 4 and Obi-Wan for 1, giving him a total of 5, which kills Ozzel but does not kill the Binder. He wins the battle, so he gets to retrieve an Imperial. And I think that he canceled it because he wants to save force. But he does make the Tanev much more vulnerable now.
That was a sneaky turn from Steve Buss that I was not expecting, but
yeah, I wish he would have fought at the Cantina first, because he would have cleared 2 guys and not lost his 9th sister, but still good. Although Binder's probably just gonna die. He does have Imperial or Decree.
Yeah,
So that
he has Decree to get a draw. He just used Palpatine to check his destiny. So he's probably doing the math, decide if he wants to battle at the Cantina or not. Just seeing if he's going to clear 1 guy or 2, and if it's 2, how much overflow is he going to have to peel to keep the 9th sister on the table? I'm doing some quick math now to see if he feels like battling, and he does.
So yeah, I think it's a 5, and he will take a damage. So
yeah, clear 2 things.
It'll be Protector and Owen and Brew for sure, I think. Bale's gone though, so it's a 4. So it's 2 damage.
2 damage and only clears Chewie.
Yeah. Yeah, see, if he flipped those around, but he probably didn't know. He probably didn't know he had a 6 on top, is my guess. And if he doesn't have a Hoojix, he might be worried too, right? Like, he might just want to lose the sister so he doesn't get blown out. Or a Gik, I mean, sorry.
Yeah, which he does. Because he's also he's gonna leave Binder. He's gonna leave Binder at Tatooine. Gonna have to do some free movement on Raltier. I don't know. Like, do you consolidate everybody here? You make it so easy to get flipped back. I guess you're getting flipped back no matter what.
Yeah, 100%. Because he's got to have a character. He's playing Diplo, right? So he's just gonna kill the. Well, no, I mean that Decree is really a threat. So
Decree is good, but you only get to use Decree once next turn, and you have Binder at Tatooine, and you're gonna have a lone character. Like if you don't consolidate everybody to one site, you're gonna have a lone character somewhere on route here that doesn't draw.
yeah, and I think what's interesting about the decree is that I don't think he would stick one guy in front of Luke or anything, but it stops. It potentially, if he doesn't have enough forfeit, it stops him from like attacking with Tanev to clear the binder. Because if he clears too many guys, and he can't, he's not flipped, right? So like, it looks like he just.
Yeah, so he actually slides Krennic over to back up Piet. So now he's got two characters there. He's drawing a Destiny at the docking bay.
Interesting.
Um,
I feel like you'd want to move Min over, so you can't just move Luke and flip, but maybe he's not concerned about that. Not Min
Yeah,
to the, I mean just to the city, right?
into the city, right?
Yeah.
Because right now, like, Palayon can do his 1 damage. He can put anybody, any rebel on a Tantive, and then he just moves Tantive over to Raltier, moves Luke over to the city, and then he flips his objective and flips Rops back.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Min should have gone over to the city. Free move with the text anyway. It would prevent that. At least prevent him from getting flipped back in that situation.
Right. So there's Hera on the 10 of 4.
I mean, there's still it's probably not a huge mistake because there's a million other ways that he can still get flipped back.
Yeah.
But at least makes it a little more difficult.
So he has making him decide on his decree now. Putting Solo the Min and Hera.
He's got to force 2 battles where Steve Bust does not draw.
And he has a 4 on top, so it's a 6. So Hera is like enough to. Unless he lost it. Did he lose it? I should probably check that. Yeah, he lost Imperial Command, so he has a 6 on top. So that forces the Corvette out. So he's going to be able to initiate battle at Tatooine, lose the Corvette to the 6, and then now he has a rebel at Tatooine and it flips him. And then he can battle with
Solo.
Flip at Solo, and he doesn't have Decree anymore.
Yep.
So, but I think Steve might have a sneak attack. I think he's had a sneak attack in his hand for the whole game, but we'll have to find out. We'll find out in a second here, right?
We sure will. But the flip will be nice. I mean, I think Apollyon is going to win that Solo Min battle, regardless of whether or not Min is getting a Destiny, and so it's going to give him another retrieval, get another character back.
Mm-hmm. So I think he. What is that 2 from? He paid for something. Now he has a 6 on top. And that's actually overflow. That's 2 overflow. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
These extra ships are really coming in handy for Apollyon to defend the Tatooine system this game. Hey, we had the Wedge earlier, we had Corvette, just like stuff to add power and soak up forfeit has been doing a lot of work.
So Berm said sneak attack 1 help man. Sneak attack adds a Destiny. Add 1 battle Destiny where you have an ATSE scout or a lone Imperial ability less than 4. So we'll add a Destiny there.
Right, we're not talking about sneak attack to put a Destiny on top. We're talking about the lost function to add a Destiny.
Yeah.
So yeah, after clearing Binder, Apollyon flips his objective. Now he's going to battle with Solo against Min. Yeah,
that looks like that'll be game.
He draws a 5, so it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 12 to 4. I mean, it's not game, but it's going to be overflow, right? It's 3 overflow.
Mm-hmm.
And then 3 overflow. Ion gets to retrieve. He's going to move Luke over to flip. Actually, he might even battle with Luke.
Yeah. Well, I think if he's paying attention, I think he has a 6 on top. So.
Oh, right. You think, yeah, Steve Bus has a 6 on top.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so there goes Min and 3 overflow.
It was a Garrison. I'm not sure what he must have retrieved a character. I think I missed him retrieve a character. So when he won that battle last turn, he used Enforcement, paid 1 to retrieve. Paid the Garrison to retrieve the Colonel David John, I think. And now there's a 6 on top.
Could still move from Tatooine to Raltier at this point, but
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, Min didn't matter where he was. And yeah, he could do that as well. I think he can move Emperor in front of Raltier, so that's the other. He can move the shuttle in front of Raltier. But I think this is probably the better play because well, yeah, I don't know. Bale's not out anymore. It's only drained a 1, so.
Yeah, it's a minimal difference because you flip pops back, so you're draining for drains turned back on at the system.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, you're just trying. Both players are trying to maximize their differential opportunities here. Apollyon's got 23 life force with 2 in hand. Got to lose 1 more to a drain. So 22 life force with 2 in hand. Steve Bus has 10 in life force with 2 in hand.
Yeah. And he saved 1, so he saved Colonel David John? Could do a better job tracking.
Wait, did we miss? Could have, if he had a character in hand, swapped for 9th Sister back would be pretty big.
Yeah.
I don't think we saw that.
I don't remember him
Yeah,
swapping.
he didn't swap anything.
Yeah. So he's going to try to deploy. They verify. Nine force, 2 cards in hand. Pauline has 2 cards in hand. Yeah, I don't know. He's probably thinking about mitigating damage, so he wants to go to Leia Organa's site. No, he can't. He has a Blizzard 2.
Cannot go inside the cantina.
And Veers.
Oh, and Veers. Interesting.
With no cards in hand, he's just trying to slow him down. I think he knows he's going to lose. Solo's actually not worried. He's not worried
Solo's
with the 0 card hand.
Solo's probably just going to clear that thing on his own.
Yeah. Playing activated 2. Using Walkling probably to pull Tanev's Tatooine Celebration. Which will force a drop, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know. He has 1 character. He could just be safe. Put a character with Solo. Move Luke over. Put the Tat Sally down. And yeah, I don't think he's worried now, especially when he only has 6 cards in his deck. 5 cards. Oh yeah, Scout at Spaceport City does 2 damage. That's big.
Wow. So what's that, 6 damage that went through this turn?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. He probably wants to battle somewhere to try to get an extra retrieval with the objective. And he's still got his Walkling retrieval. So, Apollyon, like we said, just trying to maximize his differential here.
Right. Yeah, he'll probably put someone in the docking bay because there's nothing going on there. There's no way he takes overflow, so be like,
Ion's deck has a 3, a 4, and a 5 in it.
so that's at minimum a 6.
Yeah. 6, 7, 8 with the bonus.
I see like a Chirrut or um who else haven't we seen? They usually play what's his name? The guy that cancels destinies.
Cassian.
Yeah, Cassian. I'll just open my Diplo.
There's Chirrut. Chirrut to the Dune Sea. I mean, you're not gonna get that retrieval off. You're better off just losing that card to a drain.
Yeah, he might have another character.
Yeah, maybe.
Ahsoka, Lando, Jin. No, just moves over.
Nara would have been good.
And Nara's on top of the last pile, but yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah. Good call. Could play 2 Nara.
2 Nara. Obi-Wan. We saw him. We drew him for Destiny.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he blocked both drains, so it's a moot point. But I would have battled with Chirrut and tried to get that extra retrieval.
Yeah. You can just lose this from hand. It's old Ben.
There's pops his Walkling to get a card back. So should be a win of 22.
Yeah, we'll see if 23 matters.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even a guarantee that he gets the retrieval, right? Because we're saying it's a minimum of 6. So let's say he draws the 3. He's 10 power. Steve Bus is already at power 6. So he would have to draw a 1, a 2, or a 3 in that situation to have less power. But he could have drawn, I don't know, maybe he rolls high and draws the 5, and then it's an 8, and then he's at 12, and then he's retrieving. So yeah, I don't know. Full win by 22 for Apollyon. 16 in his loss to 35 in Steve's loss.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, they are locked in to decks? Or they aren't?
I don't know. We might need some help from the chat.
Yeah. 5-minute break.
I'm going to break in the next game. Yeah, I can stick around and do a bit of the second game. I'm just going to take a quick break here to grab some water.
Sounds good. Same. All right, we'll be back in 5 minutes for the next game. tub because you're going to Kenzie's. All right, I'm back.
Looks like they started.
Okay.
Is the stream live?
Yep, stream's live. You're live. We're all live.
Okay.
Welcome back.
So we got game 2 of Apollyon versus Steve Buss. Apollyon won game 1 by 22. And now we're starting game 2 here with Apollyon on Agents of Black Sun and Steve Buss on Diplo. So game 1 we saw
What's
Apollyon
that
play
planet?
Diplo. That planet is Tatooine. I got a little co-host here with me.
What's that one?
Tatooine, see it?
Yeah. What's that one?
One's Coruscant.
It looks so different.
Yeah.
What's number is Tatooine?
7. Sorry, we're just reviewing parsec numbers here as the players get started.
What's
very
number
important.
is this planet?
0. All right, so we see interesting start from Steve Buss in his Diplo. He's not playing the droid effect. He's playing strike planning instead. So he might be going the more traditional route with Mothma and Chandrilla. Apollyon in his Black Sun deck is starting quietly observing Shadows of the Empire and wiped them out. Pretty standard. We haven't seen his quietly observing reveals yet.
It was 22, right?
Yeah, 22.
Okay, so quietly observing generally is a lot of people do Mitt and Arca, and they play really conservative and just control space and use like U3PO to mitigate ground damage. Sometimes it's Marj, Dr. E combo.
Yeah, I think the first one that you mentioned is probably preferable for Apollyon here, because he wants to play a game where he just pushes as much damage through as he can. He's not looking to go for like a big blowout battle. He just kind of wants to tank up damage through and, close this game out by 15 either way. And he doesn't really care about winning so much. But
Right.
yeah, we'll see. Deckless, we're locked in, so it's not like he can change based on the result of game 1.
Mm-hmm.
So he flips the usual flip. He gets Zizer's Palace and what's that site called? The Uplink Station. Moves his Vigo and Prince Zizer over for free. We know he has a Greedo in hand because he played Uta Guta on his turn 1.
Yeah, and the free move. Oh, wow. I just, if you haven't tuned in, there's another game, Outrider Cup. It's MHT versus, I'm not sure who Tarkin 84 is, sorry. But it's Old Allies versus Map, and Map just overwhelmed the entire system. Which means Falcon goes out of play. So just an update from our other game.
It's not looking good for Team USA.
Yeah, it's not looking good at all. Yikes.
I just looked and Darkside's at 3 locations and Lightside's nowhere on the board at all, so that's not good.
Yeah. Wow. Impressive. That's That's the power of Map. Map's still a thing, right? Map's still relevant. Even
If
after
you're playing against Old Allies, Old Allies, Map is very relevant.
Mm-hmm. That is a terrible matchup for Old Allies.
The coin flips could have gone better on the matchups.
Yeah.
Still got to win some games. So Steve Buss uses strike planning, takes Mon Mothma, takes General Kraken into hand, uses his objective and finds Mos Eisley.
That's
So maybe Alderaan wasn't in there, but he's also not going for turn one Alderaan necessarily with this. If he's doing Senator Mon Mothma for Chandrilla, he's making a pit stop there anyway.
Mm-hmm. It's not so much of a liability right now, I think. Did we talk about favorability in this? Who we think's favored?
No, we did not.
Okay. I think Diplo's favored. What about you?
I think it probably depends on like how many Lukes they're playing is a consideration. I mean, sometimes you only see 2, sometimes you see 3 or 4. So obviously, more Lukes is going to be better. I think it's probably pretty close. Maybe I'd give the slight edge to Diplo as well, but I don't think it's by enough in like a standard game. I don't think Diplo's like winning this game by 25.
Right.
Usually, I think it's more like a 10 differential win. So I think probably for the match, Apollyon is in a really good position given his game 1 result. Because he doesn't need to play the game to win. He can just play the game to push damage through, and get Steve Bus differential below 22.
Right. And one of the issues, well, okay, so when I play against Abs, I am constantly invading with spies, right? Like, you have 2 great sites just to, like, and they have to commit resources to sites they won't even drain at. So that's one of the big ways you win as Diplo. But like you said, to win by 23, even I don't need any matchup. I don't know a single matchup where Diplo winning by 23 is like common, because it just has to put so many cards on the table that, yeah, unless you're getting Tadseli unchallenged the whole game, there's no way. It's very difficult. So if he pulls it off, I think I'd be really impressed.
I think you're alluding to, like, when you think about paths to victory, like we might see some more risky, high ceiling plays from Steve Bus, knowing that he's got to overcome that differential gap. So yeah, we might see. I mean, maybe we'll see lone characters at every single Tatooine site with a spy going to Coruscant. We might see just a lot of crazy stuff early on from him, with minimal. I think he already lost to Hoojix off the top. So unless he's running 2 Hoojix, he's probably going to be doing all this without a Hoojix, which makes things even more awkward. But we might see some riskier plays from him just to try to make up that differential gap.
Right. Did we even see his quietly observing picks? Did that happen?
No, I don't think he revealed yet.
No, he did. It's Arica and Mitt.
Oh, must have missed it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's exactly what you said as the first most likely pairing.
Emperor goes to the interior. Yeah, no, I that's pretty standard. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I think it's just good for Apollyon in terms of trying to close the match out.
Mm-hmm.
Getting extra bodies in space, knowing that he's if they're playing Mitt, that usually means they're playing the space cruiser also, right?
Right.
So just like extra ships, extra bodies in space. He just wants to like keep battle plan satisfied and keep shadows occupied, in effect, and just keep that damage going across.
Yeah, just push damage and see if you can try to stop his celebration at some point. What's interesting? This is a restricted event, right? Like, you can't play what's considered top tier decks, but Agents of Black Sun won Worlds, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting that it still didn't make the list. And I think Joe played it because Yavin 4 Ops was oppressively present in the World's 2021 meta, and it just gets such a huge advantage that it can like basically flip turn 1 and put out a bunch of damage, right? So like that's probably why I played it. And I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it's a tier 1 deck? Do you think it would? Think it's okay?
I don't know if it's like squarely in tier 1. I think it's maybe like towards the back end, like it's a tier 1.5 ish realm. Um, but I think it's a good deck for match play in general because it gives you a lot of different lines of play, based on another game result or like even in game deciding if you want to go for, we saw the Hujix go off the top. So now for Apollyon, he does have two paths to victory. Like, yes, his default is to just, go for pushing damage through and sitting at three battlegrounds all game. But now we might see him, like, if Steve Bust leaves himself open, we might see a couple characters go to a site, like Aura Singh and Boba Fett Bounty Hunter go to a site, and maybe there's a sense for an evasion card, and we know Hujik's not going to be a factor. So I think it's an interesting deck in that it gives a lot of lines of play. It's got some flexibility to how you approach each individual game or how you would approach the whole match. So I do think it's close, but I also think that it's got a lot of liabilities. Like you mentioned, you're playing um, these big drain liabilities where you can't. You've got to protect them, but you can't drain at those sites. So now you have people on Coruscant. Even the locations it gives up are pretty juicy places for something like mains to go.
Right.
And there's just a lot of like tuning with tank Lukes in an open meta. I mean, not a Jawa meta specifically, but like in an open meta, I think having a lot of fully immune Lukes running around is probably not good for Black Sun. So I think it's outside of tier 1 in an open meta. Probably in Jawa meta though, it's squarely in tier 1.
Yeah, I think I agree fully. The Lukes, especially like communing, is tier 1. It's hard not to be when you're playing fully immune Jedi. Luke is one of the best light side cards. The Master Jedi Master Luke. And they all play 4, so you're never gonna be flipped. So yeah, it's definitely not tier 1 in open meta, especially with I feel like Yam 4 Ops got taken down a notch. They nerfed 2 things in set 17. They nerfed the Drain Canceller, Blue Squadron 1, and they gave Darkseid Kira. So,
right.
Kind of like 2 nerfs, I guess. So then you wouldn't play AODs, right?
Kira
So.
Kira playable in Black Sun?
I don't think so, but I don't think you'd even need it, right? Like,
no, not for that matchup.
Yeah. So Nara's coming down to the Mos Eisley, maybe setting up Tatseli. It looks like he missed Alderaan again, so it was in his force pile. It would be the bottom card of his force pile. If he had Rey, that would be no problem at all, but he's going to set up Tatseli. 3 retrieval. Apollyon has 11 cards in hand, so I'm sure he's not too worried. Yeah. Unless he gets a character on that Tantive 4, he can't really move in front of Zuckuss. He needs 3 ability. Piloting. So.
Yeah, I mean he's not in a terrible spot at the moment because he's got the 3 retrieval. But yeah, he is going to have to figure out a plan to navigate around Zuckuss as he gets to Alderaan.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he's going to draw. Kind of awkward here. And if he wants to draw down to that last card to get Alderaan, he's not going to have any force saved. He opens himself up to like a first strike.
Well,
down.
And we know his Uchik's in Lost Pile, unless he
and we
plays
know his
2.
Uchix is in Lost Pile. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's hoping for Rey or something.
Yeah, I mean, in that spot, I might have saved 3, so I could go through my opponent's turn with 3 force saved, and then, assuming I didn't have to use any of those force, I could use 3 for my Walkling pull.
Sure.
Hold on, buddy.
Well, if he has like a barrier too, he can put Alderaan on the bottom, so. On Tana 4, we have the standard R2 and 3PO, Senator Mon Mothma, Bail Organa, and Captain Ramus Antilles. The crew. The crew's assembled. He drains one, or no, he pings one with shadows, and he loses a Luke from hand. That's a little questionable. Hopefully he has 2, because that's going to be a target. Killing Luke is pretty big. He lost a Leia from reserve deck. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, losing the Luke from hand, I guess, maybe means he has his third Luke in his hand as well.
There's the Ray he wants. Eesh.
Yeah, it's rough. I mean, this is a lot of damage piling in. Steve Buss is already down to 22 life force. Obviously, he's got Celebration on table right now with 3 characters on Tatooine. So it's not like,
yeah,
like the door is closed, but he's already at 22 life force. Apollyon's pushing at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 damage with shadows.
Mm-hmm. Well, and this is pretty desperate, right? Like, 4. Not consolidating after you lost to Hujix. Like, I assume he has a dodge for Nara, because right now a beatdown is super live, so.
Yeah, and 17 force active.
Yeah.
It could get ugly, but like we said, Steve Buss had to take his risks.
Right. Space Cruiser to pull Mitt. Plays Java Space Cruiser to Chandrilla, and now Chandrilla is a drain of 2 because he has a capital starship there, I believe. If you control 2 Star Destroyers, Force Stream +1. If you control no capital starships, Force Stream -1. He's playing it pretty safe, it looks like. 59 goes to Nara. He's not going for any beatdowns. He just kind of... There's a battle order first strike, which... It allows him to dodge once. Ooh, that's a good play. Antilles maneuver makes it so he has to pay to shoot with P-59. So now,
yeah, but he's going to initiate both of those battles for free.
Right, yeah. So that actually doesn't do too much. But if he clears both of those, he's only retrieving 1, right? So.
Yeah, if he clears both and maybe hits with P-59, it's 2 more damage. It's less retrieval.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't mind this turn at all from Apollyon. This is a pretty good turn.
Yeah.
The first battle is at the farm with Probot against Onum Beru. Apollyon draws a 3, which is need to get rid of Onum Beru. There's no immunity. And Steve Buss draws It's a Hit, which is, he'll happily take that into hand with Mothma. Yeah. So they trade, which is certainly good for Apollyon situation. And now we're probably going to see a battle with Mos Eisley.
How many parties?
Free battle. And there's the dodge. So Nara's going to try to move as a react to the Dune Sea. Let's see if there's an answer. And, all right, no answer. No answer for the dodge. So Nara escapes. But yeah, the retrieval's still down to 1.
Yep. Down to 1. He's at 22, so he can put himself up 1, but he's threatening 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage.
Yeah.
And even going after P-59 is tough. He needs to go with someone to... If he gets hit, that's 2 more damage.
Not pushing much of his own damage because he's not flipped. There's no drain at the system. Just a drain of 1 at Dune Sea. He's got the 1 retrieval, which is going to put him at 23 life force. He should have Alderaan in his reserve this turn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But he still has to work through it. Like, he's got to put somebody else onto the Tantive, and he's got to move to Chandrilla first. I mean, I think this is why, if I was playing Diplo, I'd prefer that droid start. It's like you just get to bypass this step
Right.
of having to play it at Chandrilla.
Yeah. The Zuckuss to Chandrilla is a pretty good play, I think. Wildcard can make it, so that's good.
Yeah, wild card gets there in 1 turn. Is that right? Okay, so this is good. It's good development here.
Mm-hmm.
In the Cantina, but unfortunately for Steve Bus, both of his guys are on the other side of Mos Eisley.
Yeah.
I mean, like he can move in front of P-59 with Luke and Nara, but then I don't know, maybe you leave Nara at the Dune Sea at this point.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really want to put Nara right in front of P-59 and have to eat that 2 damage if you can avoid it.
Yeah, for sure.
But you do want to get over to Mos Eisley and the Cantina to start shuffling and retrieving more.
Yeah, he needs. Yeah. I guess my brain is kind of racked with like figuring out what line I would take to keep it to win by enough, and it's drawing blanks.
I think you leave Nara at the Dune Sea. Like you've got to pull out all the stops here. So I think he's doing now. You put the droids on a wild card. You send a wild card to Alderaan. You upload a card from your 6-card reserve deck. You get another dodge or a barrier, some kind of evasion.
Yep.
Just move Luke in front of P-59 and leave Nara at the Dune Sea. Like, you've got to do something here to try to overcome this wave of damage that you're about to take and try to like flip this into a board state that favors you.
Right.
So he delivers the plans, he flips, he moves Luke over. He's got Celebration with 2 sites now. Maybe you have some evasion that gets you through this turn and into next turn, and then you can start initiating battles, retrieving. Still looking a little grim because of how much damage Apollyon has set up. He's still pushing 5 damage through on his next turn.
Yeah. Yeah, 5 damage is. I think it's just too much, but he's kind of on track to lose the game. I feel like too. It's really tough. It's really tough to if you can't keep him out of space. I think it's pretty tough. He's well, I don't know, maybe not. He doesn't have Leia, which is frustrating. I'm sure top decking Leia that early.
Yeah. Missing one of your youth pile pulls and a decent character. I mean, Leia, once you're flipped, Leia is just fine to hold a site by herself on Tatooine in most cases.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then your Chewie still costs you 5.
Yeah.
Instead of 2.
That's a good point.
So down to 18. You could draw up. You drop 20 and then drop 7. I imagine he's just gonna throw everything he can at Luke. That would be my guess. I guess he can dodge. He pulls a dodge, dodges into the Cantina. It's not bad. He can also attack Nara, or just attack both.
Yeah, or both. I mean, just put like one person who draws in front of Nara and everybody else in front of Luke. At least get one of them off the table.
Mm-hmm. He does a Shadows ping, and then he's going to do 2 at the system and 1 in each site.
Man, losing Aaron Kraken from hand feels bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. And he's peeling more from his deck. Unless he has 5 cards to sink into his deck. Ten cards that valuable. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. And Kraken wasn't one of them. I mean, Kraken is just a guy who can get you a Destiny on his own out of sight. I feel like he's
Yeah, and with Luke,
at this
he's
point in the
has
game,
a
you
Destiny.
have to prioritize keeping cards like that, efficient cards that help you keep your retrieval up.
Yeah. Yep. Wonder what Apollyon does here. He's got to have a Peace Scat in his hand, so I think Boba Fett is out of play. It's got to be one of the cards in his hand. Jasper,
who right now would not get a Destiny.
Boss, now he can get a Destiny.
But yeah, backed up with Bosk, now he's at 6.
Forlom makes it so he can't draw. It's just, yeah. You're looking at a dodge again, I would say. Let's hope he has
there's got to be a dodge here.
He can't blast the door kid because he's not high enough ability, I think, right? So
right.
It's a trap. It's a trap.
It's a trap. Narrow escape, I don't think you can do, right? Blast the door kid is not playable here.
Neither thing.
What's that?
It's one that we read from Thomas the Tank.
So we're looking at a minimum of 4 overflow. Plus 3, 7 overflow.
Yeah, so no evasion at all.
Nope.
7 overflow after Nara. I mean, maybe there's a second Hujix.
That is possible. There it is, second Hujix.
There
Wow,
it is, the
late
second
again.
Hujix.
Unreal.
I think Tyson makes hell.
It's not super rare. I see a lot of people playing 2 Hujixes.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty standard play in past Diplo lists because you want to go so wide with that deck, but there are those risks like Nine Sister and Forlom, like we just saw, and Vader, Vader Enforcer. So there's some risks to going wide. So yeah, I don't think 2 Hujix is too crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
Still a nice turn by Apollyon to clear a character off without losing any of his own. And now he gets a big stack in front of Luke. I mean, Luke's going to move to the Cantina, but that could leave Mos Eisley open for a drain. Sorry, we're going to look at the planets again.
All right.
No, what's that small planet?
This one?
No. That one. This one.
That's Chandrilla.
Looks so blue. Let's see that blue.
That's Mon Mothma's home planet. Yeah, so 4 damage and a retrieval. He's currently at 15 life force. It's 15 life force to 23 life force. Pretty big hand sizes, 12 and 9. Um, I'm not sure what he's gonna do here. Attack Prince Caesar maybe. That might be the play here. Something big. Something that can.
Who's this?
Well, even like to
Who's
fight
this
Xizor,
one?
you need
Who's the yellow one?
two people who can
Who's
draw
the
through his
yellow one,
text, right?
Daddy?
Right.
Who's-
You can play Ahsoka. Ahsoka will draw through.
I think
Right, but
Daddy
Ahsoka's going to
does
eat the
what that-
Xizor's bounty, right?
True.
You're not battling this turn with just
Mhm.
Ahsoka.
True. Yeah. He's in a pretty safe spot. Imbalance.
One,
After the
two,
retrieval from
three,
Teletree and
5.
Celebration is going to ping him another damage. I don't know if we can afford to lose from his deck anymore. He lost from his deck. He lost Hujix.
No, actually, if you look at life force counts, Apollyon can activate 20. He's got 21 in his life force, so he could conceivably just draw up next turn.
Indeed.
I mean, he's close to drawing up next turn. He's one card off of being able to draw up his entire force pile and just ending the match.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's something that will come to mind. I mean, that's not like a very common play,
Right.
but
You
it's
see
possible.
this waves?
Right. Is the did the other game finish? Do you know? Looks like they're still going.
Was that the other game?
Yeah.
Does
It's
it?
impressive if it's still going after such a big turn.
Yeah, I haven't checked in. I saw there was like Leia on board and MHT was building up a hand, so hopefully he's able to put up some kind of a fight here.
I think it's finished. I don't see Dylan streaming anymore.
You guys stay here.
Okay.
Europe won. The Outrider Cup is done. So what's the Outrider Cup now? Can they still pull? Can the U.S. still win?
Can't they? It's just straight up games, right? So can't they go 6-6 and tie?
Oh yeah, I suppose. They're down 6 now, though.
Is it that bad?
Not sure.
I don't think. Have they even played 6 games?
Yeah. Okay. I think they're down 5, but I don't.
Okay. Yeah, Berm in the chat said Outrider Cup is done. Europe won, but then he clarifies and just said that game is done. Yeah. So okay. So it's
Okay.
4-1 Europe. Side is 5-0. Wow, JNAP.
Jeez.
JNAP and Berm on the call. Yeah,
I thought Dark Side was bad. What the heck?
Light side is badder.
Yeah, true. So if Dark Side is better based on those stats, then Europe still wins because they haven't played 2 of their Dark Side games. Or no, they still tie. That would be wild. If it was Dark Side 12-0, that would be just wild.
That's then we're looking at an interesting data point.
Yeah.
I think small sample goes out the window if Dark goes 12-0.
Okay, so Steve moved enough. It looks like 2, 4, 6, not enough to get around Zuckus.
No, so maybe he's.
Oh no,
just...
he has Hera. So he has 7.
Oh, he has 7. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And he's drawing 3
yeah,
Destiny, so that's pretty good.
That's very good.
Do you see the twins?
Ooh, it's a hit. That helps. Its hit is grabbed. No more of that nonsense, he says. Now he's sensing it. There's wise advice, which doesn't do anything in this situation because he grabbed it. There's an altar for the sense. And the altar is used because it's used when canceling sense. The only part that is used.
You hear that?
That was a decent interaction for Steve, aka Cohen. Yeah, the Outrider Cup is interesting because of how they draft the matchups. But yeah, there's a lot of factors. Player skill, getting your bad matchup, etc. Like for example, Old Allies losing to Map is not out of the ordinary, and that's just a bad draft for matchups. So
Yeah, I mean, it's like Berm makes a good point that there's some caveats to looking at those results. And like you're saying, if you just rolled up to a tournament with Old Allies, you wouldn't expect to face Map at all, probably.
right.
The structure of the Outrider Cup means that there could be a map and you could face it, and that just ended up happening for that Old Allies deck. So yeah, there's a couple of caveats when you're looking at those results for sure.
Cad Bane and IG guarantees that Luke will get cleared, meaning he has to pay to drain because battle order first strikes on the table. That is definitely his weak position is ground. So he might have a dodge, he might have a narrow escape, something like that. Blessador Kid.
If he doesn't avoid this battle, he's getting flipped back, which is not a huge thing, but it's just like if you don't squeak a couple extra damage and retrieval through here, it's looking really bad.
Yeah, and it flips both of them, right? Like we know he lost a Luke,
yeah, it's
so
gonna,
he doesn't have another
right.
Luke. Yeah. No escape takes the sense back, so that's a sense to cancel his evasion. Yeah, and Map. I think you're right. I think Map. In terms of like for me, considering playing Map at a tournament, it was a really subtle change, but it made control matchups that much worse. So because you can't invade their sites as well, you can't have like explosive site attacks on their sites. It did take Map down a notch, I think. There's a narrow escape, but we know he has a sense.
Yeah, I would agree with your assessment of Map.
I want to play Map, but I just don't think it'll. I think that's too much of a change.
Yeah,
Nice.
I mean it's definitely it is a minor change to the text, but it's a huge change to the way that Map kind of operates in some of those matchups, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, I don't know. For me, I think it shifts it clearly to tier 2.
Right. It's still sleeved, so people should be worried that it might be there, but
No, I mean I still have a map together, that's for sure.
Right.
So wait, was that a second narrow escape?
No, I think he just said
Okay.
wow. Just say wow. What's narrow escape music? Oh wait, what? No, it didn't work. It can't. The battle's still gone through. He canceled his immunity.
He canceled his immunity.
Did he? He did play it twice, but it didn't do anything. I'm confused.
I'm not sure what that was. Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out.
So he. Oh, okay. Yeah, so he played it. The action can go through, but he needs to be able to pay for it, and he couldn't pay for it.
Right. He needed a force for land speed movement.
So yeah, because the way the card works, it gives you the option to move them away. Then the card resolve. Then you can pay whoever you want to move, and then the card resolves. Because you can move people away and keep people there. Right, I believe with Narrowscape. Move.
Think
Oh
so.
no, it says move all of your characters with ability there away. So you have to move them if they
Using
can.
their land speed.
That's interesting. I've
So
never
he can
seen
still
that.
play it, and then the result fails after he successfully plays it.
Yeah, I suppose.
That's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that happen before.
Yeah. Hmm. Who'd have thought? He might have saved an extra force if he knew that. But he is looking at overflow here, potentially. Oh, he only saved one. Never mind. So, no overflow, but Luke dies. They flip positions. Draws a 4. He's not immune, so he has to lose Luke.
And there's the concession.
There's a concession.
Yeah, I mean, it was going to be really uphill. Like you said, even just to win the game by any differential is going to be uphill for Cohen there. So not surprised to see a concession. Even the little things weren't going right for him.
We'll
Hujik's
see
off the top, the layout off the top. It just
See Mia.
okay. I have to go look for Mia the train.
All right.
So I guess I'm out of here.
All
You
right,
can close
man.
it out.
Well, thanks. And take it
Thanks
easy.
for watching, everybody.
Yeah,
I'll let Charlie close it.
Yep. So, taking a look at the standings, I guess I was not correct in what's going on with the tournament, but it looks like Apollyon advances. Look at the Java Cup here. So we actually watched this top 8. So sorry about the graphics were incorrect, but Jason advances. What was this? Oh, that's the finals, right? Okay, thanks. Okay, so Apollyon versus Jellison and JAAP versus Levine. And I'm not sure on their forum names. Unless that is their those are their forum names. Yeah. Okay. Final 4. Excellent. All right. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. I got to get to work. So have a good Saturday.